Allah Azza wa Jal is compared to his ability. When I was in Saudi, one of my friends was a doctor, and he treated somebody who was important in Al Sheikh. Al Sheikh and Al Saud were running the country at that time. So he said to him, he was really pleased because apparently he had many doctors who couldn't get him better. He said, you can ask for either 25,000 Saudi riyal, my wage was 4,000 a month, or you can give you a new Cabres, American car, stretched car, or can give you the nationality. He said the nationality. So he had the nationality, became Saudi citizen. He applied for a grant. He managed to get a grant to come to Britain and study PhD in psychiatry. And he went back and opened a psychiatric hospital. So the gift was, obviously, he was clever in choosing which gift to get. When I came here, he was studying in Streatham. He was living in the Streatham Community Center in the mosque, a room that he hired, and then he introduced me to other people. His name Fadlul Khani, one of the great families in Syria. So the gift of that person was measured by his ability. But if the gift from Allah Azza wa Jal, the fadl from Allah Azza wa Jal, the fadl from Allah will be entering Jannah, to go there and live forever and ever and ever. I was talking last week, I think tomorrow, not to you, no, the week before last. Anyway, I was listening to this discussion between Robert Lawrence Kuhn, who is a billionaire, interviewed Hamza Youssef. And then they were talking about time, what time means. And then the last day, Hamza Youssef interpreted that as the last day. There's no more days after that. The time stops. So there's no more time. You're living forever. So you don't have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, whatever. So you just enjoy yourself, and there's no counting for you. So Fadlullah, that you will go into, and the same for people who go to hellfire. There's no days, just so you live in paradise forever and ever and ever. There's no time, there's no counting. How long have we been in paradise? A couple of millions of years so far. We don't know. There's no counting. So Allah will single out those who He find that they deserve His bounty and His mercy. And mercy, the Prophet ﷺ said, none of you will enter Jannah because of his deeds. They said, even you, Rasulullah. He said, even me, unless Allah will include me in His mercy. So Allah, so the mercy of Allah Azza wa Jal will get you to Jannah, because your deed, how much, no matter how much it is, divided by eternal life in Jannah is zero, whatever you do. So Allah Dhul Fadl Azim. وَمِنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ. Now, this one of the things Allah explaining there, obviously behavior, and one of the things which is really nice about when you go to the Quran, you start reading Surah Al-Baqarah about the creation type of people, and then the creation of Allah Azza wa Jal, and then creating Adam, and then He told us, be careful, the people who were created became religious, but this is what they have done. And He started listing the things which the sons of Israel did. And Allah Azza wa Jal, because the Quran from Allah Azza wa Jal is so much balanced that He will not deprive anyone of his rights or his characters. So here this ayah saying some people, the people of the book, some of them, if you trust him on a treasure, a qintar is like I think probably in gold will be 100 or 200 kilos. So qintar, if you trust him with a qintar of money, he will give it back to you. And some of them, if you trust him for a dinar, 1 dinar, he wouldn't give it back to you unless you are on top of it. You keep reminding him, you threaten him, or you have evidence, or you threaten to go to court or the police, or and embarrass him in front of people. So so he will be pressurized to give it to you. And why? ذلك بأنهم قالوا ليس علينا في الأميين سبيل. The Gentile, the non-sons of Israel, because they consider themselves the chosen people of Allah Azza wa Jal, chosen nation, and everybody else is Gentile, have no value. Subhanallah, they just said it when they entered Gaza, subhuman. They called us subhuman, human animals. They called us, which shows their nature. It's not new to us. We're already told by Allah Azza wa Jal, they don't consider us, have no value, and if they take our money, they take our money. They were not charging interest to the Jews, the son of Israel, but they were charging interest to the Gentile, the non-Israelis. And وَيَقُولُونَ عَلَى اللَّهِ الْكَذِبِ. Obviously, they are telling lie about Allah Azza wa Jal, and they know they are telling lie. It's not like, they misguided, they didn't know, they didn't study. They know it is lie because they expose each other. You always find somebody exposing them. I put on the think tank and the media an interview 1 hour and 35 minutes with a Jew from something called Democracy News or something, if anybody see it. But this guy is a Jew, and he's talking about what Hamas is doing and what the Zionists are doing, and more or less you could say, yes, this is actually what's probably happening. He said it's amazing that he thought all these rockets fired by Hamas are just a bit advanced firework, and nothing actually in them. They never destroyed anything. They dropped here and there and everywhere. Never. And the same, the Israelis, they were so much in, and the guy wanted to save his own skin and things. And so that's a habit. SubhanAllah, it seems like run in the gene that they will take your money and they will do a lot of money they confiscated from the Palestinian Authority. They get the money and that comes through Israel and come to the Palestinians. And sometimes withhold the money, and sometimes refuse to give the money. So they don't feel that they are, as they said, we are human animals or subhuman. And Allah Azza wa Jal here, He didn't. The good one, Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned them, because if Allah Azza wa Jal didn't mention that some are really trustworthy, few will be. There's always, in every nation, there's few good people and there's few evil people and there's few in between. There's always good people in every nation. If there's no good people at all, the nation will be destroyed. So Allah Azza wa Jal respected those few ones, because they might come back and say, oh, your Quran is wrong. I've been trusted by so-and-so and so-and-so, and I gave so-and-so, and I have all this, record under my name, and I always trusted. And they do, to a certain stage. I mean, you trust the banks, but when there is a bank run or when there is a bank bankruptcy, then your money will go. In Cyprus, they confiscated 75% of the deposits of depositors. They didn't see that as a problem. Denied them, have 100 million shrunk to 25 million. So those who have no money in the bank were the happiest, because they were not hit. And the Lazarus said, Bala, من أوفى بعهده من الله من أوفى بعهده واتقى فإن الله يحب المتقين. Whoever fulfill his promise and keep his word and keep his faith, be afraid of Allah, be mindful of Allah. Allah loves those who are muttaqin, who always try to purify himself and be with Allah. It's not always easy, but it's doable. And subhanAllah, when you are trustworthy and you truthful, and you find that you're always happier, than anybody around you. الذين يشترون بعهد الله وإيمانهم ثمنا قليلا أولئك لا خلاق لهم. So those who change their religion and say that they're not obliged to give the Gentile their money or their rights, and they change the religion, they change their books to go with that, they will have no share in the hereafter. They will obviously go straight to hellfire and have no share in the hereafter. And that trust from Allah which they swapped for a few pennies, for a few thousands, got them into hellfire. And no one with the right mind will exchange something so important, which the pleasure of Allah and the promise Allah. Ahdullah here, many scholars talk about being originally believer when Allah created the souls. He took them out and he made them, he said, he took from them the pledge that I am your Lord. They said, yes, you are our Lord. And they believed in Allah and that promise, it's built in their genes, in their DNA, in their souls. And that trust of Allah and that promise, they exchanged for little pennies, little pounds, and then they will get nothing the hereafter. And Allah will never talk to them. Here, Imam Shawawi mentioned that Allah does actually speak to people, and in the hereafter, Allah will say to Kafirin when they talk to him, اخسأوا فيها ولا تكلمون. When he talks to the Kafirin, he talks in a way, I'll just bring the ayah. قال اخسأوا فيها, Allah talking here to the Kafirin in Jahannam, in hellfire. قال اخسأوا فيها, be driven into it with ignominy. Ignominy means
shame.
اخسأوا فيها ولا تكلمون, and speak not to me. And what he said, that when I say to somebody, good morning, how are you? Are you all right? And you look nice, you look smart. It's different than when you say to somebody, you are idiot, evil, you're sacked, you're going to prison. And you say, I wish he didn't speak to me. So a talk will be welcomed by somebody, and a talk will be said, oh, I wish I didn't come, or I wish I didn't say good morning to him, or I wish I didn't come to the interview. So not a talk. When it is a talk which is, take him to hellfire, خذوه فغلوه ثم الجحيم صلوه ثم في سلسلة ذرعها 70 ذراعا فاسلكوه. Take him and chain him and tie him to hellfire with 70 chains and things. And that's, as you say, I wish he stops. I wish he never speaks. So Allah will not talk to them a talk which will be a pleasure to them, or respect, or at least free from the punishment. ولا يكلمهم ولا ينظر إليهم. Again, also the meaning that Allah will look into the believers, and they look at him. وجوه يومئذ ناظرة إلى ربها ناظرة. There will be faces who are delighted looking at their Lord. And also ينظر إليهم could be another meaning, which is, I looked into your case, I looked into his case. So yes, nadara, I looked into his case and then send him to paradise, or send him into hellfire. ولا ينظر إليهم, which is the consideration, look, and the pressure, no, I don't want to see it, take him to hell, I don't want even to look. So you have that meaning as well. So this is why the Quran, حمال أوجه, Sayyidina Ali ibn Abi Talib, when Abdullah ibn Ibn Abbas went to discuss things with the Khawarij, he said to Abdullah ibn Abbas, he said, don't use the Quran to argue with them because it has multiple meaning. And they might say, that oh, we meant that meaning, or we meant that meaning. So they might delay the decision making and reaching an agreement. وَلَا يَنْظُرُ إِلَيْهِمْ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ وَلَا يُزَكِّيهِمْ. If Allah doesn't purify you and doesn't clean you and doesn't raise you, وَلَا يُزَكِّيهِمْ وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ, and they will have severe punishment. And that's an evil thing to do, to change the book of Allah Azza wa Jal. Like when you imagine, God forbid, and I haven't seen a Muslim change the Quran. Qaddafi tried to change the Quran and said, when Allah Azza wa Jal said to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "Qul huwa Allahu ahad," say Allahu ahad. "Qul a'udhu bi rabbil nas." You don't have to say Qul. You just say Allahu ahad. And Muslims were up in arms across the globe. And he couldn't get out of that criticism until somebody, a good Muslim, he said, if you want to actually make people forget it, start open Hafz al-Quran schools. So he opened Hafz al-Quran schools in memorizing the Quran across Libya. And there were nearly 1 million Libyan memorized the whole Quran. So the good news started coming about something he did, to compensate for. So it's not easy for, it seems, anybody, any human, to change the Quran.
So he repented, did he?
This is what he did, to repent, to show that, no, I respect the Quran, I still cherish the Quran, and I made these schools to teach the meaning of the Quran. And also one of the things they do, not only changing the Quran, they twist the tongue when they talk about words in the Quran or words in their book, to give it another meaning, or to give, like a word they used to say to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ra'ina have two meanings. Ra'ina means like make concession for us and help us and wait for us and things. And Ra'ina has another meaning, which is the foolish one of us. So Allah Azza wa Jal banned it in the Quran. Allah Azza wa Jal said, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu la taqulu ra'ina wa qulu unzurna. Even the word here, never use it, forget it, full stop. They used to come to the Prophet ﷺ and say, Assalamu alaikum, instead of Assalamu alaikum. So Assalamu alaikum, which is poison on you, or Sam, which is Sa'am, or disease and things. And when one of the Jews said this to the Prophet ﷺ, the Prophet ﷺ said, Wa alaikum. Aisha was standing there and she was, and on you the psalm and the curse, and the Prophet ﷺ said to Aisha, no, don't do their mistakes. She said, they need somebody to answer. He said, I answered. Wa alaikum. Whatever they meant by psalm, it's wa alaikum. And on you. That's it. End of the matter. Didn't give them a chance to irritate me or annoy me or make me lose my temper. So they change the way the words are said, and also they give it, like when you read the Quran, at the beginning, the Prophet ﷺ banned the Muslim from writing the Hadith. And why he banned them? Because the Quran and the Hadith, they might look similar unless you really know how the Quran is actually revealed and the way it's written and the way Allah used to mention things in the Quran. So the Prophet ﷺ wanted the Muslims to get used to the Quran, and then when they listen to the Hadith, they can say, yes, that's Hadith and that's the Quran. Until few years later, and they saw Abdullah ibn Mas'ud writing the Quran, writing the Hadith, and they told the Prophet ﷺ, and he said, carry on writing, by Allah, nothing come out of my mouth but the truth. So they were allowed to write the hadith at later stage. And when I read the page from the Furqan, American brought professor, Palestinian professor, Christian Sharrouch, his name, and he wrote a Quran after September 11 to change the Quran, remove all jihad and fighting from the Quran. When I read the page, straight away it's nothing to do with the Quran. I just started trying to praise Isa and confirm he's the son of God and things. But they twisted they tried to make confirming Isa son of God. This is the new Quran. They tried to distribute it in Kuwait, but they never. I still receive emails and text messages sometimes. Be careful, American wrote the Quran and they spreading it. They started spreading it in Kuwait. Like, yes, that happened 22, 23 years ago. It wasn't. But he's the first time he read the news. So he passed it because he wanted to make us aware that there is a Quran written by. But they use this, the tongue twisting and similar. At the time of the Prophet Musaylim al-Kadhab and others who pretend to be prophets, they try to make ayahs similar to the Quran, like ألم ترى كيف فعل ربك بأصحاب الفيل. He started the surah. الفيل وما الفيل وما أدراك ما الفيل له خرطوم طويل وذنب قصير. The elephant, and do you know what the elephant is? The elephant has long trunk and short tail. And he became إن أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر. Came إن أعطيناك الكوثر والبساتين المحفورة وخلقنا لكم بندورة. We gave you Kojat and the farms, and we even created tomatoes for you. So Amr ibn al-As, before he became Muslim, he went to Musaylim al-Kazzab and he said, I know that you are a liar, and I know Muhammad was telling the truth. But for me, I prefer the liar of Bani, whatever the tribe is, better for me than Muhammad the truth man, the Sadiq al-Amin, because he's unrooting them. They will lose their leadership and importance and money and income and things. So they were twisting their tongues to say that the Torah to the Jew and pretend it is from the Torah, and Allah Azza wa Jal said it's not from Torah, and they used to say it is from Allah Azza wa Jal, and it is not from Allah Azza wa Jal. And they know, they tell the lies about Allah Azza wa Jal, and again he's saying here, they know it is a lie. It's not like, they were cheated or confused with something else. No, they know. They sit down and choose a word. When Ahmad Didat, may Allah bless his soul, when he started talking about what's in the Bible, showing that Muhammad is coming, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he took the word Paraclete, which means Muhammad. And they, in no time, they went and changed the Bible and removed the word Paraclete and put the Comforter. The Comforter. So I have the Bible in garage Bibles, one with Comforter and the other one with the Paraclete. They changed the whole Bible, but printed the new Bible just to take that word out and replace it by a word which has no relation to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
What was the other word before comfort? Comforter.
Paraclete.
What?
Paraclete. Paraclete means Muhammad in Hebrew. Or Hamd. There's a word which I showed the video in Shelley Farm a few years ago when we were celebrating Milad al-Nabi. It's Muhammadan. It's Muhammadan. Still there. They couldn't remove it. So Allah Azza wa Jalla said, ما كان لبشر, it's not up to any human who is given a book from Allah Azza wa Jalla and the law and the prophethood and go out to the people and say, be my servants, be my worshipper instead of Allah Azza wa Jalla. but he instructs them to be godly in their behavior. كونوا ربانيين, represent Allah Azza wa Jal. In fact, one of the meaning of إني جاعل في الأرض خليفة, when Allah Azza wa Jal said to the angels that I will be creating Adam, he will be one of the meaning vigilant. One of the meaning is somebody who will mimic the characters of Allah Azza wa Jal, being merciful, being helpful, being kind, being tolerant, being happy to educate and teach and support. And so this Rabbaniyin, godly's behavior. بما كنتم تعلمون الكتابة, because you were teaching this book and discussing the meaning of the book. وبما كنتم تدرسون. There's a hadith: ما اجتمع قوم في بيت من بيوت الله يتلون كتاب الله ويتدارسونه بينهم. There's no group of people who meet in a mosque, in the house of Allah, read the book of Allah, recite the book, and discuss it among them. They need to discuss the book among you. Is this your understanding? Is this your understanding? What do you think of this meaning and that meaning? So, وَبِمَا كُنْتُمْ تَدْرُسُونَ. Yeah, so if you study the Quran correctly and you teach it and discuss it and explore the meaning of the Quran, will be doing the Rabbani, the godly work. It's Rabbani worshipper Rabbaniyin is not worshipper. The meaning of Rabbaniyin is not worshipper.
So
I'll bring from ayat Rabbani. Oh, I didn't bring the English.
Quran.com has lots of translation.
Quran.com.
Yeah. It's in Arabic. You're writing it Arabic.
I need to have Onal also within my reach.
بس العربي.
Thank you. I have Quran here as well, but need to be very quick in getting it. I need somebody to navigate
Just scroll
easily.
down. Scroll down. Search.
Al-Imran. And which ayah we are? 79.
النساء في الأرقام.
73.
كونوا ربانيين.
You can add some other translations as well if you want.
I thought it was 73.
You can close the window. Create an X. Go ahead.
No, the other one.
Be devout to the worship.
Be devoted to the worship of your Lord. Yeah.
Abdul Hamid translates it as be godly. Be godly people.
Yeah, that's the word, godly. Rabbaniyin, from Rabb, godly people.
The Rabbaniyin is what? The plural of God.
Rabb, God. You are Rabbani, you are mimicking the behavior or the characters of Allah. Rabbani. Rabbaniyin, the plural. Rabbani, what? You use names in Pakistan, Rabbani, isn't it?
Well, press the three dots on the left under the where it says three. No, where it says 379.
Settings.
Yeah, go to the three dots. The last one. In the back where you were, there's 3 dots.
Just go vertically down.
Vertically
down.
تحت الكتاب.
What are you after?
It gives you more translations.
More translations.
It's actually here.
I have one translation here.
Oh, you mean different books?
They've taken some out. Maybe.
Mustafa Khattab, Abdul Halim.
They've taken some out.
Anyway,
It says here one of the be pious scholar of the Lord.
devoted, like you said.
Yeah,
But Rabbani is a
scholar of the Lord.
Yeah.
It's not like a scholar, really, like a knowledgeable person.
Yes. Rabbani itself, you have
The devotion.
the characters of the Lord,
Yeah.
which is you should show through your behavior. And this is why, when Allah created Adam, he said to be Khalifa, represent me on earth. So he represents Allah Azza wa Jal. He is godly person. He is Rabbani. He is godly person. And they use it. He's godly person. When I was Habib Rahman, may Allah bless his soul, when he invited me to the wedding of his son, it was in Motosaka Museum. Then a priest came and started talking to me. He said, when I saw you, I thought you might be a godly person. So he doesn't know anybody there. So he came, expected me. He said, oh, you must be a godly person.
So it says here, worshippers. You would have expected something like Abudu in there.
Yeah. Yeah. ولا يأمركم أن تتخذوا الملائكة, and he doesn't order you to take the angels and the prophets as gods. Obviously, when you have a person who take a statue or an idol as God, or Jesus as God, or angels gods, or prophets are God, they don't know God. They don't know Allah Azza wa Jal. They have failed in measuring Allah Azza wa Jal and knowing what God is and what God is not. So I can't imagine somebody will mix in his mind, like, with God who knows all what's going on in all his creation at the same time, could have somebody equal to him, or anyone has similar ability. I mean, I can't even tell what's going on in my house, what's going on in anywhere outside here, looking. Even here, I can't tell what's going on in the room. So Allah knows what's going on in the mind of all the people at the same time. And when the Prophet ﷺ was around, he was telling him, they were thinking about this, they plotted this, they plotted that. And like when you read Yusuf, when Allah said about Al-Ayr, when the caravan left Egypt, for start at the time, when they left the city, the father of Yusuf smelled the smell of Yusuf. فلما فصلت العير قال إني أجد ريح يوسف لولا أن تفندون. When the caravan just left the city, because the smell mixed with the smell of the city wasn't recognizable, but when they left the city with the shirt of Yusuf, so what sort of ability Allah gave him? I mean, we're all amazed in our garden. We put some grain for the birds, and they smell it from everywhere. How they smell it? It has no smell. When you take the seeds, it doesn't have any smell. And you smell it, they smell it from distance. And then the squirrel comes and try to eat it. And then we had the crows came, and we had all sorts of birds, and now they smell it. The wasp smell the sweets from, I don't know where they come from. Suddenly they appear. So the ability of this swarm and the flies and things is so massive, while we have so limited smell, and probably you wife or your husband have purchased expensive perfume and have you not smelled it? No. They get upset, you know. Spend £90 and you still can't smell. But we have very limited ability, and we put the limited ability to Allah Azza wa Jalla. We can't even copy wasps. We can't even copy a bird. We can't even. They go on the top of the tree, and they make it. They just turn the head and see the worm around 20 meters away, and you see the bird come eat it and go. And subhanallah, in the morning when I go leave my house, when I go out, there's so many worms get lost on the way. Allah will make them a nice breakfast for many of the birds around.
I saw a video of thick snow and a fox walking, and he just dives in the snow and he pulls out a mouse.
Yeah. And they will be like diving in the sea. So, in summary, Allah Azza wa Jal is not estimated or measured or thought of as He deserves to be measured. This is why people mess about, oh, this is God, that's God. This is why Ibrahim والسلام, when he was ridiculing their thinking, said, oh, I wouldn't take that statue you built as God. The star God, okay, that moon is God. Then the sun is God. Then. So he just tried to lift their thinking to a higher space. So Allah doesn't order you to become kafir after you became Muslim. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك اللهم اجعل اجتماعنا هذا اجتماعا مرحوما وتفرقنا من بعده تفرقا معصوما. May Allah bless our meeting and protect us after leaving here. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر الحمد لله. I noticed you do that dua in your zikr at the end. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت